Hey everybody. I just finished another book in the Shivers series. This is Watch 'em Kill, number 28 in the series, kind of later. As for how many books I've read in this series so far, I think this will be my 10th book. I haven't looked yet, but we're in double digits of Shivers books, maybe. So that's pretty impressive. Haven't went insane yet. So yeah, that's definitely a plus. The story itself I picked because I remember flipping through this a few years ago and I thought that it took place on Halloween, and it actually does. There's not like a huge amount of Halloween vibes to this. There's no trick or treating or anything like that. But there are some Halloween stuff in here that kind of reminds me of Halloween. So yeah, I think I did pretty good with this one. But the story itself starts off with this kid named Philip. He is this nerdy guy that doesn't have a lot of friends, doesn't like to play outside. Or he does like to play outside when he gets picked to play on sports teams and stuff. Nobody really ever picks him. He's not athletic. He's just nerdy. He likes to stay inside and read books and different things like that. He collects monster memorabilia like I think posters and different things like that. One day he sees a bunch of his friends outside playing I think basketball. He goes to try to join them, and they say no, we're pretty well full. We don't need you. So he gets depressed and he leaves to go to this discount store. This discount store is selling like a lot of monster stuff because it's close to Halloween. And he buys these things called Watch 'em Grow, which are basically these things that you put in water and they grow into these like spongy, um, different things. Like, like the dinosaur things. I think that's the only ones I've ever had as a kid. But yeah, this particular, um, franchise of, toy things you put in water are monsters. Like there's Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, um, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and yeah, people things like that. Universal monsters, basically. So he goes and gets them. He's riding his bike. He ends up crashing his bike or falling over, and it's raining. And he hears like a bunch of gunshots. He hears like four. So he takes off running, and this part is unintentionally hilarious because he goes and tells his parents that somebody was shooting at him. I was like, okay. And his parents call the cops, which is, what you should do. They come over, they talk, and yeah, they go back and they tell him that they went to this place and they found like a bunch of footprints and they're really big and different things like that. There's like four footprints, and yeah, his parents. Now this is where the parents get like the award for the best parents of the year, in my opinion. This is sarcasm, by the way. The parents leave to go out of town to party or whatever. I'm no expert, but I think if you had a kid that got shot at, I don't think I'd leave to go to a party, especially by themselves. But yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, they leave, and he's by himself. He starts hearing noises outside. He goes, and we run into our first monster. So essentially, what happened is these magic pill things that he has that turns into monsters. When he dropped them, they hit the water and they sparked and smoke started flying up, and they turned into different monsters. And the first monster we run into is a mummy. So this mummy breaks into his house, tries to attack him, and this kid comes in and hits the mummy with a baseball bat, knocks him out. This turns out to be one of his good friends that I can't remember what happens at the beginning, but he's like not around. And yeah, so they escape. They go into to a neighbor's house and they run into the Wolfman creature. And the Wolfman has a creature has one of their friends that went missing earlier, and he has them in his arms. And the Wolfman scenes are actually pretty good. I mean, I am biased when it comes. I think Wolfman will probably be my favorite Universal monster. And yeah, so this Wolfman starts chasing them on all fours, running after them. It's really cool. Yeah, they run into some other stuff. There's Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. None of the monsters really have like their own scene. I think the Mummy probably has the biggest scene in the book. Probably my least favorite character. Dracula has a very brief appearance. He talks about wanting to suck their blood, different things like that. The creature from the Black Lagoon, I don't think he does anything. I think he like just pops up, and the monsters end up getting the watch them grow things and throw them into the water. and this hatches out more monsters. So there's like 15 Draculas and 30 mummies and, different things like that. And yeah, I wish we got more different monsters. But yeah, that's basically Watch 'em Kill. There's not much to this book. I will say this book did have some dark nature to it. There's a scene towards the end where one of the kids' parents say, "Hey, there we just got a phone call. There was a creature that attacked this house and injured everybody in the family. They're in critical condition and all this stuff," which was very dark, I think, for this type of book. I haven't read nearly enough of the Shivers books to see how dark they get, but there are some that get really dark, and this one I think got pretty dark there. Yeah, I am happy that this book didn't have like the little gremlin looking creature here on the front. It was actually instead Universal Monsters, which was very nice. I enjoyed seeing which monster would come out next, and I was hoping a way to defeat them would be like something, Frankenstein. I think is like scared of fire. That's how you defeat him, and or Frankenstein's monster. Wolfman, with a silver bullet. But no, they actually get defeated in a very lackluster way, which I didn't enjoy. I didn't love it. But yeah, overall, this was okay. This was in Shiver standards. This was a pretty good book. Um, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. And let me clarify this. Like I did Werewolf Skin a while back ago, a couple weeks ago, and I did it a four out of 5 stars. This does not compare to Werewolf Skin, even though they got the same rating. I'm kind of comparing these more to like their own series. Like in the Shiver series, this is a pretty good Shivers book. If that makes any sense? Yeah. But yeah, Watch 'em Kill. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, I wish we got more like ways. Like they had to defeat each monster in a different way, but I kind of understand it. One thing that also bugged me was Frankenstein was just referred to Frankenstein, not Frankenstein's monster. Which, if you're a big Universal Monster fan, and I'm not even the biggest Universal Monster fan out there, but even I know it's Frankenstein's monster, not Frankenstein. Um, but yeah, I think that whoever wrote this just wanted a little cheap Halloween story. This is kind of like Monster Squad, a movie that I've never seen before, but I definitely got the vibes off of that. I do know essentially what it's about. So yeah, um, Watch 'em Kill. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Please let me know in the comments below what did you think about this book. I think this was a better one in the series. The writing was terrible. Speaking of which, I do want to show you guys if I can really show you something. I think I know what page it's on. I think it's on page 27. Yeah, there it is. So I was reading this, and I got to page 27, right? You see how that font is? It looks like that's the end of a chapter, you know? Well, when you go to 28, there's still more to the chapter. So it's very spaced out. The formatting is very terrible on this book, as with a lot of Shivers books. So this was basically like a half of a book, in my opinion. But I thought that was hilarious because it looked like the end of a chapter. I was like, oh, I'm on the next chapter. No, there's one more page with like 3 sentences on it. It's a waste of paper. That page could have been left on there, and it would have been fine. But whatever. Some of the font is actually crooked too, which is again unintentionally hilarious. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars from me guys. I still give it a 4 out of 5. I thought this book was kind of dark. Very a little bit more interesting than the last. Well, I don't remember what the last Shivers book was that I read. Oh, the Hurricane one. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars from me guys. Thank you. Bye bye.